Brenton, what? Brenton, we're stuck in a basket in the Nile.
Why did our mummy throw us into the river?
Whoa, the seas are a little bit rocky there.
Why the hell did she put us in a basket?
I think she thinks we're the chosen ones for God.
God's chosen ones?
Yes, Brenton.
I mean, I'm feeling pretty good about it. Oh, it's a crocodile!
Watch out for that crocodile. Brenton, there's a ship coming straight for us.
Oh, we'll be fine. I mean, we're the
God's
chosen ones.
ones.
Exactly. We'll be safe from the... Oh, it's an orc! Hello, Nathan.
Hello, Brenton.
Ancient history. Let's talk about it. And specifically, ancient settings in films, TV, and games.
Okay.
Now, you know me.
Yes.
I like my little ancient settings.
You do, Brenton. Your bedroom is actually decorated exclusively with Roman art.
It is. But my favorite setting is Egypt.
Is it actually?
It is, yeah. I was obsessed. Even before we did our little term on Egyptian mythology.
We did back in primary
year
school.
6, I
yeah,
believe.
it was 6.
I was obsessed before then. My parents bought me a bunch of Egyptian books and things like that. And
that's cool. You're a little Egyptologist. You're like...
Oh, dude. I was all over it.
Nice.
But I love it when you watch something or play something that like lets you go into that world, or someone's, let's say, adaptation of what that world was.
Yeah, like you go to like old ancient settings, like you watch like industrial London, like you'll go back into Sherlock Holmes film, or like and you appreciate that today's like the best time ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the world. Are you nostalgic for those ancient times? Like, would you like want to live back then?
No, I would not want to live back then. Like your life expectancy back then, it wasn't looking too shabby.
No, it was looking pretty bad.
Exactly. Yeah,
for various reasons. But I think, I mean, out of all those settings, you love Egypt the most. I feel like when it comes to video games, like the ones who probably do that the most is Assassin's Creed.
Let's talk about Assassin's Creed.
Okay.
What's your favorite?
Favorite? That's a tough one. I haven't finished the Egypt one yet, nor have I finished the Greek one yet.
Which is okay, because they're the two most recent.
Yeah, I've played literally every one before that. This is a really nerdy one if we're going to talk about.
Let's say your favorite Assassin's Creed before the most recent.
Probably London. The one I've had the most fun with is probably London, because you get a big grappling hook and you're just like, you're basically Batman. You're just you're sliding all around the place.
That's
also,
really cool.
You know what I love about the Assassin's Creed games? I love that So if anyone who doesn't know the Assassin's Creed games, they're obviously like video games where you go back into an ancient time and you play a guy who just has to kill these people in that ancient time, like most video games. I love one half of the Assassin's Creed games where all the protagonists have like American accent actors like trying to put on a foreign accent.
Oh my god, my favorite example of this is in Unity.
With Arno.
We're in France, and then suddenly Arno says, "Hello, I'm Arno."
He's got like a Pommy accent.
Yeah, everyone. That's exactly right. No one has French accents.
Like it's funny. The public do. Like when you brush past someone on the street, you're in the middle of like revolutionary Paris, and this person's like, "Oh merde," or they're like, "Oh baisez-toi." They're like,
"Oui,
"Fuck
monsieur."
you."
Yeah.
Croissant. It's just like generic French like
Get
words.
me the baguette.
You're making me a drop of the baguette. Oh, suddenly I'm Italian in Paris.
Suddenly
What?
Italian. No. We're in Assassin's Creed. What's that one?
Like 3 of them, like Brotherhood, especially Brotherhood.
Brotherhood is the one.
The protagonist, Ezio, he's like this Italian guy, but he has the worst Italian accent I think I've ever heard.
I mean, it's pretty rough. I haven't played all of the Assassin's Creed games because my first one was actually Brotherhood.
Oh, that was my first one too, actually.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's a good game.
It's a great game. It's a good introduction because
you can go to the Colosseum, you go around Rome and stuff. Yeah,
the game is pretty accurate because I remember when I first played it, I had been to the Colosseum in real life. And I was getting like weird deja vu, but I was like there in like the 1400s, so I was like, I've been here before, but I took selfies here. Like,
I'd say my favorite though is probably Black Flag.
Yeah. I mean, it's the most critically acclaimed. If anyone is interested in playing Assassin's Creed and wants to start with one, obviously because like there's no real storyline connecting all the games. You can pretty much just do any one you want.
In the first 3 there is. It's so confusing.
I know
this series, but
Assassin's Creed 1 to Assassin's Creed 3 has an ongoing storyline, but then 4, the Black Flag one, just drops it and then it's never picked up again.
It's like 1, 2, Brotherhood, Revelations, and then 3 are all like kind of the same,
very unconnected, continuous story.
Exactly,
and then 4's like, you know what's better? Just having like standalone games set in
No
different
one
ancient
likes
periods.
this story. Let's just take you straight to the historical setting and let you run amok.
Yeah.
And it's great. I mean, to be honest, because Black Flag obviously is a pirate game.
Yeah.
And there's never really been an attempt at a great pirate game.
No, and you feel like there would. Like, you think that would be perfect for a video game medium.
Yeah, especially with the resurgence of like Pirates of the Caribbean, like that franchise and how big that was. Kind of, in the 2000s. So yeah.
It's pretty great. Have you seen the Assassin's Creed movie?
I haven't, no.
Oh.
I've heard it's a rough time.
I didn't go to the cinemas for it because one of my mates, Carter, he went to the movies like opening weekend, like really early on, and I don't think enough reviews had been out by that point. And he called me and he savaged the movie like explicitly, and he was biting his tongue not to spoil it. And so I'm like, I'm gonna wait and not pay money for this. Oof. And I saw it at home as soon as it got released on DVD, and it was pretty bad.
Oh, yeah, that's
pretty abysmal.
That's a shame because there's some great actors attached to it. There's a director that I was interested to see.
Yeah, because he did Macbeth, and it was quite good.
Yeah, and it was okay. It wasn't. I wouldn't even say it was that good. I mean, it was all right. It was visually very striking, and and I liked the vision of it. And I was like, I'd love to see what this director does next. And it was that apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just such a mess of a film, but...
Exactly.
No, I'm glad the Assassin's Creed games are around. I still love them deeply.
Yeah.
You played them as well. Well, you got the new one, don't you? You got the Greek one, don't you?
Oh, I do have the Greek one, yeah.
And you have the Origins? You have the Egypt
I do have Origins as well, yeah.
Fantastic.
I got to play more of Origins, man, because like I said, Egypt, it's my favorite ancient setting.
Yeah.
So I feel like there'd be lots of tidbits of info that I'd be like...
I love the little fun facts.
Yeah, like little Easter eggs if you even call them that, of like, oh, that's a historical goodie right there.
Oh, he referenced Caesar.
I read that in the book in year 4. Oh. Welcome to episode number 30.
30, woo! 30.
Oh, classic movie banter.
Woo!
Yeah, here we are, dude.
It's the podcast. We're here to review movies older than 20 years. And let you know if they're good or not. Who are you?
I am a certain Egyptian prince.
And I am Nathan. and we're here to do some classic movie banter.
Oh,
dude,
yes.
we're in our 30s.
In our 30s, dude.
I always forget, is that good or bad?
I feel like I'm about to have a midlife crisis.
Yeah. I feel people are having them a lot earlier. I've got mates in their 30s and they're like, oh gosh, they've just had a kid, or they're just it's not they don't love what their lives. They're just like, is this it?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, here we are.
We are here. Putting that misery aside of being in our 30s.
That episode 30 we would be reviewing Prince of Egypt, released in 1998.
I don't think we would have called it. I think because when you and I first started the podcast, we had a little list of films that I think we really wanted to watch, old films. I don't think Prince of Egypt was on there.
No. I feel like I suggested it at some stage.
Yeah. And then is it today that it's the 20-year anniversary?
Yeah, 20-year. 1998 it came out. I don't know if it's today, but
let's say no. I think it's this week. I think it's sometime this week is the 20th anniversary.
Oh, cool, cool. 20 years since Prince of Egypt.
20 years.
20 years. But yeah, it's good to be here.
Thank you. It's good to have you here, Brenton. It's good for you. Good to be around.
Good for the cell.
Have you seen when you watch the rugby and the footy, when they interview the team captain, and he's just like, oh, it's just good to be here at the field, just to get around the boys. It's just.
It's great to see the fans turn up, and and hopefully we can get the win tonight.
Yeah, hopefully get a win tonight. Have some good practice.
We just have to do we've got a strong game plan. If we stick to that, we should be all right.
I reckon we just got to kick the ball.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah. All right. I'm just gonna get back there and warm up, I guess, and then kick a ball for 80 minutes, and hopefully, we come out on top. But if we don't, probably because we didn't deserve it. But we'll see what happens. The boys have had a great week of training, and feeling refreshed.
And you're just like, oh my god, get to it.
The funniest is the post game conferences.
Oh, it's even better. It was just the one bloke as captain who just had never done any public speaking in school. Yeah, and he's now the captain because he's got great athletic talent.
Yes,
and they always interview him, and he always just sounds like he just doesn't want to be there.
Oh, I know what you mean. I do know what you mean.
And you're just sitting there, you're like, why are you asking this guy in the first place?
I love the way the reporters, after a loss, especially, they're the funniest ones, because the reporter will sometimes ask, and this is my favourite question when it's first. So, Coach Steve, So what happened out there today, mate?
Oh my God.
It's just the best question.
It's such a setup question.
And then the coach, basically their response is always, well, I mean, you watched the game. You saw. We just, we didn't really complete our sets and, kicking game wasn't strong and there was a few errors and things that we needed to fix up on. But, I mean, the passion was there, the boys,
and they're literally recounting a speech they've done 12 times,
and then it's it goes back to the captain who's like, I mean, wasn't anything to do with our training. We're suffering from a few injuries, so but it's just disappointing.
We're just grateful to be here. We're just a small team out from West, and it was good just to get around the boys. The other team,
well deserved. They played well tonight, but we just needed to, be better, and we weren't. And, we'll do that next week, I guess. Yeah.
And everyone's just sitting there, just being like, "You're not Gandhi, mate." It's like
Prince of Egypt.
Yes.
Speaking of sports,
ignoring our sports tangent. Brenton, do you want to pitch me the Prince of Egypt?
I would actually. Yeah.
Thank you. Just say no one week, and
okay. This is going to be the most simple pitch I've ever done.
Simple pitch for a simple film. Here we go.
1995. I'm walking into. I'm head of Dreamworks. I'm working at Dreamworks. Okay. Oh no, okay. I'll pitch it to Dreamworks. I'm a worker at Dreamworks. I've got.
Wait. Hold up. Back up. We're in the 90s. So welcome to my office. We're skateboarding. You skateboard into the office.
Oh, okay.
And you say, "Rad man."
Sup, bro?
And you got a backwards cap.
Have I got the movie for you? Have you ever read the Book of Exodus? This is a genuine question. Have you ever read the Book of Exodus?
Me, Nathan? Yes, I actually have read the Book of Exodus.
No, you, movie executive Nathan.
Movie, no, I can't read. I literally cannot read.
You would have heard the ancient story of Moses, from the Bible.
Is he the one who supposes roses are Moses or something like that?
No, he's the one that was a Hebrew and he becomes Prince of Egypt, but then he realizes his heritage and he kind of runs away, but then he comes back and saves his people. You know that one, the parting of the Red Sea, that one.
Oh yeah, I've seen that parodied heaps. Is that what that's based on?
Yeah,
oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, we want to animate it.
You want to animate it?
Yep, that's it. Pitch done.
And you just run away.
Thanks for the money, bye.
But I haven't even signed it yet. Thanks.
So yeah, that's the movie.
There you go. Yeah.
There's a few songs added in. Surprisingly, this film,
you walk back in the office, you're like, wait a minute.
This film, it's supposedly aimed at kids, but there's some very dark moments.
Yes.
It doesn't shy away from adult themes. That parental guidance, it is recommended.
Is it really rated PG?
I don't know.
It probably is.
I presume it is because there's some pretty.
There's some really dark moments in this movie.
Stuff in this movie.
Like this ain't Disney at all, is it?
But yeah, so it's the story of Moses, but it's an animated version.
There you go.
Dreamworks, I believe this was their first feature film.
Yeah, so I'm a very nervous studio executive about to make my first ever film, and I'm like, okay, here's all the money. Please don't fuck up. Please don't fuck up.
What could go wrong? And did Nathan, in your opinion, did anything go wrong? What do you think of Prince of Egypt?
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't think it's excellent.
No.
I think it's good. It's a good film.
It's quite good.
Yeah.
God, I gotta say, when the DreamWorks logo came up and that it was that was probably the first time that it appeared on the screen.
Yeah.
I got a few little chills there.
It's kind of weird that it's 3D animated, but the rest of the film's 2D, kind of 3D.
Strange. It's a weird amalgamation. But at the same time, not all of the animation holds up. But when the animation, it hits its stride, god damn, it looks pretty beautiful in moments.
This is a very pretty film, isn't it? It's also a very weird, like light-wise dark film.
It is.
It's very darkly lit.
There's some fantastic landscape shots. There's some brilliant silhouette work in the animations.
Yeah.
With the use of the foreground, the background.
There's some great experimental animated sequences.
Yeah.
There's a great nightmare scene, which is gorgeously animated, where one of the characters has a nightmare and that kind of stuff. Do you want to maybe in case we have listeners who don't know the Book of Exodus that well, do you want to maybe tell me what the story is?
Moses.
Yeah.
Moses.
So a guy called Moses.
Assume
no one knows who Moses is.
So going back to our opening of the show, so Moses is put in a basket as an infant.
Oh yeah.
Because the all of the babies in Egypt at this point are in danger.
They are in danger.
Specifically, the Jewish babies.
Yes.
Are in danger because the Egyptian Pharaoh has decided does not want an upbringing, a rebellion from his slaves.
Yes.
So he decides to basically wipe out a generation to stop a new generation from rising and the numbers from rising to form a rebellion to rebel against his power.
Yes.
So Moses' mother puts him in a basket and throws him into the Nile.
She's like, "Good luck with that."
Good luck with that.
I don't think she. In the movie, it comes across that she doesn't know he has a divine future or anything like that.
No,
Like,
she
I think she's just like, hope this one makes it. Like,
yeah, I think that's the idea. And then, sure enough, he rocks up in the water gardens of the Pharaoh's palace, and
and is
Pharaoh's
raised as a
wifey
prince.
finds him, and then he's raised as a prince of Egypt, and then he suddenly realizes that he's not actually Egyptian, or he's not part of the royal lineage.
Yeah.
He's some guy, and so he runs away, and then God tells him to go back and save the rest of the slaves, and so he does that with God's will, and the rest, as they say, is history, or is it? I don't know.
Or religious text, we should say. Yeah. We should great summation. Great. I think we should preface this episode a little bit with, like, you know, we'll make jokes of this movie as a movie. So we're gonna poke holes at this as we do all films. So, like, don't please don't interpret this as poking at the religious text. We're not. We're poking at the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is like a weird text that. Oh, I'm so naive on this topic, but I think this is a story represented in Judaism, Christianity, and Muslim. In Islam, rather. I think this is a deeply religious story. I think the figure of Moses, I think he's in all three, and we'll treat this all like any other. So
yeah.
Let's
talk about this movie.
Let's talk about the film. So, like, it's Brenton, is this film a musical? I guess it's a musical. There's music in it.
I guess it is.
What do you think of the music?
I didn't mind it. So, like, a lot of it's quite good.
I didn't hate it. Something.
I think some of it's quite good. Some of it's unnecessary.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I love the opening song.
I do too.
I thought that was extraordinary.
But there's moments in it that are unnecessary. So I was all on board. There was one moment that didn't get me, and it's when I think it's like the third verse or something, when there's a little girl that follows kind of Moses, and when she starts singing, I was like, the song could have ended. The song, we could have built to that last kind of chorus area, and it could have ended. The song as a whole is great, though.
It's excellent. And you watch all the slaves of Egypt like build the pyramids and that kind of stuff.
It is epic,
and it's remarkable. And it's like, it's like this like really baritone like oriented choir. Like
exactly, and
fantastic.
The animation is on point for that whole opening segment as well. That opening shot is gorgeous. Yeah.
Oh, it's so great. I took issue with the little chick following the baby.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I feel like that.
Not just her singing, but like just her in general.
Yeah,
like because she goes very close to the queen. Like
that's true.
She like follows the river.
That's when she sings, and I was just kind of like, what? Why? No.
Yeah.
We don't.
How did she get that close to the queen? You think there'll be guards like marking the entrance of that river?
She's a magician.
They got some bad security at that palace. Like the fact that a crib, by the way, they could. I mean, there aren't bombs. We're in like ancient Egypt, but like the fact that the basket could float in there, like who knows? There could have been like poisonous scorpions in it. Like she could have been attacked.
I mean, roll the credits. I mean, movie over.
Like that's what really happens. Like you think there's a baby in it, and there's like a second basket that got swapped, and it's just scorpions just murdered the queen viscerally.
Like, and then roll the credits. The Prince of Egypt.
Or maybe the scorpion's the main character. Like he grows up. Or like
oh yeah, and he's like they adopt him as like one of their own. Oh my god,
that'd be great.
Oh my god, yeah.
But
yeah, the opening song's definitely the standout. I'd say, like for sure. There's a couple other songs that are okay, but the other songs, they're not really necessary.
Can we talk about the worst song in the entire movie?
Nathan.
Yes.
Is it that old classic? You're playing with the big boys now.
It's the stupid I hated it so much.
So we basically stop a scene that it's a dramatic scene to go into this random song.
It's so out of tone and out of place.
It's like that lyric, the name of the song, playing with the
big boys now.
What does that mean?
What is? I don't know. I don't know what that means. And it's
who are the big boys? Are we talking about Egypt or like?
Because he's angry with his brother Ramses because he won't free all the slaves, and like, and there's just I don't know why, and like the two advisors like start bursting into song and they're jumping about the palace and they're like doing all these weird magic tricks around him, And it just makes no narrative sense. And I feel like it's one of those moments where they would have animated it before they worked out like why they had it there, because it's so jarring. Speaking of those advisors, Brenton, like what's their deal? Because there's like the king's advisors who serves like the old king, and then when Ramses starts ruling, like are they evil? Like what's their deal?
They're just high priests. They're just chilling.
But like, because like
they need to justify their existence as high priests, I guess, and they need to,
I guess,
and show that their mythology, their religion is the religion.
I guess, yeah. But they just act so sinister throughout the whole film. Like I was waiting for them to suddenly reveal they were plotting against the king or something like that. You know what I mean?
No, I never got those vibes. I think that they are just kind of wiry kind of characters.
I love that moment where you watch Ramses and Moses like pouring water on them from the balcony. Do you remember that scene?
Yeah, that's a great scene. We should, we'll talk more about that later because
we'll talk about that later.
I think it's quite good. But what I will say in terms of positives for this film, I think obviously like there's some very beautiful kind of landscape, like I was saying, landscape work, silhouette work, lighting work,
gorgeous art.
In terms of the animation, but also I think the emotional through line in this film was quite successful. I think that like in terms of pacing and whatnot.
It is a well-paced story, actually, yeah.
And on top of that as well, in terms of another positive, there's a lot of showing and not telling.
Yes.
In this film. There's a specific scene that kind of came to mind when I thought of that, but obviously we'll talk about it in spoilers, but it was a moment where basically you saw a lot of like movement and, reactionary work from characters that then kind of transfers into this into the scene where basically you're then halfway through the scene, you've seen the start of the scene through that movement, and then you know what's going on, and then the characters continue that kind of story. Like there's a lot of that subtle kind of work.
It's animated intelligently. Like I feel like there's not much stakes to the movie. I didn't find that much tension.
Well, no, I think unfortunately for this film, I think there is. Don't get me wrong, there is plenty of stakes and tension kind of in the premise of this, but because we know this story so well, it doesn't really do anything with it necessarily. Yeah. And I feel like the first half is a lot stronger than the second half.
Yeah, I guess.
Film. Yeah,
I guess because you know what? Actually, I can tell you exactly why that's the case. Because in the first half, the protagonist has a struggle because he's struggling with his identity.
That's right.
In the second half, he knows his identity.
That's exactly
right.
And then
God just solves all of his problems for him.
That's right. And you never see him really question. There's a moment you do, but at that point, kind of the conflict has ended.
Yeah,
and I'll talk about again. We can talk about that more in spoilers. But I totally agree.
I feel like a lot of this film is just like Moses just saying like Moses is confronted with a problem, and then God's like, "I'll solve it," and then God solves it, and then another problem, then God's like, "I'll solve it," and then
you're exactly right.
Like, and there's no tension because like we know he's not in danger because he's on a mission from God, and like there's just and like every time he like goes to confront like Ramses or tries to convince him about like what's gonna happen, like God's like, okay, let me pull some shit, and then nothing changes. And because Moses, like if you know anything about Moses, even if you're not religious, he passed the sea at one point, and he gets the 10 Commandments. It's like the two things he's famous for, and like because none of those things happened yet in the film, he's safe.
Yeah,
like there's no real stakes, and like
that's what I mean. I mean, like this story is, and so I think where the second half of the film falls flat is that if they'd really kind of invested in like these characters, mainly of Ramses and Moses, and we'd seen kind of that more of that conflict of the situation.
It's like
because we get some, but then we lose screen time to playing with the big boys now, which kind of sums up, I guess.
Did it need to be a musical?
Film. Not necessarily, but there's a couple moments that I think really work well as a family kind of musical film. The opening song. There's also that song. I
wasn't a fan of the montage. I didn't like the montage.
No, when he gets married and
there's spoilers, alright, but like,
I mean, yeah, sure.
Listeners, you should see Brendan's face right now. It had the most like for fuck's sake kind of look.
I mean, look. Let's talk spoilers. Okay, here we go. Tangent time.
All right. So we'll put a spoiler in the non-spoiler section.
No, I'm not going to spoil the film. I'm going to talk about spoilers in general.
Oh, okay.
In this tangent, okay. And I apologize profusely if I did just spoil a moment of this film.
I don't think he did, but I think everyone knows Moses gets married. Like,
but it's not even that. Like, obviously that's a plot point that's not highly integral to the entire storyline of this film, but spoilers. It's not how a film what happens in a movie. It's how it's executed. A film can have like the best plot in the world. There's movies with the most convoluted, like amazing plots that like if they were like executed well would be an awesome story.
Yes.
But then they're not, and then so they just kind of are remembered in history as that awful movie that was convoluted and terrible.
Looking at you, Crimes of Grindelwald.
Oh boy, yeah. Well, that's just unnecessary storytelling as well.
True, yeah.
That's from a story that's quite a good story that has a very clear beginning, middle, and end, and then they go, well, let's tell more of the prequels of that, even though, we kind of told, the main strokes of that story in the other story that was the original story. But let's go back and, develop those strokes in the story.
So you advocate spoilers. You're like...
Dude, I don't give a crap about spoilers in anything, really.
I think what holds me from that thinking when I talk about movies is, like, I know people do.
No,
so,
I know.
I bite my tongue
totally
for them.
agree.
Like,
I'm like I said, I apologize if I spoiled that plot point from Prince of Egypt. However, I think it's okay. I think that one's okay because, again, it's not like a huge plot point.
It's not like, but like, have you ever had something spoiled for you that genuinely impacted your viewing of a movie?
No.
Wow.
No.
Maybe.
And I've had.
I'm going to drop some on you after this episode, buddy.
I've had some big moments spoiled in movies as well, in stories that I've really cared about.
Yeah.
But it hasn't bothered me because then I've gone and watched the execution of it. It's like the example I always use is that if you go and see, let's say, a Shakespeare play, and you've studied it in school, and then you go see the play. I think
that's a great example. Yeah,
it's you're looking at not so much the plot line of Hamlet. You're looking at how it's executed and how this Hamlet is different from all these other Hamlets throughout history.
That's true.
In terms of the performance.
I think there's a difference though in spoiling that or then spoiling like the latest Marvel movie or something like that.
Because but then okay, here's the difference.
Adaptations you can spoil like nothing else.
Shakespeare is written in a way that it's about characters. It's about these things, and like the plot points are important, but there's a lot going. There's a lot in play in those stories.
Yeah.
The whole Marvel formula. The stories themselves aren't that interesting, but the plot point, the frenzy that they do with the marketing and whatnot is all about certain plot points that will this happen or will this not happen or what's going to be those end credit scenes.
Actually, that's a very valid point.
It's not one story. It's adding to this kind of
like this.
I hate to because I love Marvel, but it's like it's adding to this kind of commercial product. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you have
maybe I shouldn't have used Marvel as an example, but
no, it's a good example because it makes it into an event that only happens once. It'll only be in cinemas once.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I think it's like movies in general. Like
true.
Like if someone spoiled Inception for you, I think like that would 100% impact your viewing experience. Like
yeah, but okay. Yeah, yes, I agree, but
if you went like spoilers for Inception, but imagine if you went in or you're about to go in, someone said to you, "Oh, by the way, he actually convinced his wife to kill herself because she was dreaming."
Yes,
like, and you watch that because that whole movie kind of builds up to that why he feels that guilt for his wife's death, and you were trying to work it out the whole film. Like mystery films, perhaps, are solely built on a plot point.
No, exactly, but. Does that necessarily impact? It does have an impact, I agree. I'm not negating that it has an impact. I'm just saying, is that impact necessarily negative?
I think it is. At least for me personally, I find it is.
Yeah.
Like, because I think there's a relief when you find out a plot point like that. And you're like, with a twist, you're like, and you're robbed of that, kind of moment. It may not be, I don't think it's adding a negative, but I think it's robbing you of a positive. If that makes sense.
Oh, I disagree. I think that if you were to go into Inception, using that example, and you found out that spoilers for Inception.
I said that before. It's,
yeah.
I prefaced it.
Spoilers for Inception again. If you knew that Cobb killed his wife, by planting that idea in her head, literally, going into the movie, you would still be watching that movie, and I think if the movie's executed well enough. That plot point will not be in your head the whole time.
I see what you're saying now. I think what you were asking before is
a plot point shouldn't be the most important part of a film.
No, but I think what you're saying, I think we're saying two different things. I'm saying that one moment definitely takes that 1 minute away. I think what you're trying to say is that the whole film isn't ruined because of that knowledge.
That's right.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. And I'm saying before, I agree with you on that, but I'm just saying at that specific moment in the film, you don't get to have that release.
True.
That's what I'm saying.
But hopefully, maybe if you do know that there's other positive aspects to it, because if you do know that Cobb forces his wife to kill herself, there's going to be other aspects that you therefore would. The puzzle pieces are making sense, and you can see the detail of those characters and what's going on, and you'll have other aha moments.
Yeah, but see, that's just like a second viewing experience you're getting on your first viewing.
True,
like,
but
you don't get that raw first viewing, going in blind kind of like wow kind of moment. You know what I mean? But
it's just a different viewing. It's a different experience. It's not necessarily more positive or negative. It's just
you're just saying, oh, I have a second viewing experience. Now is the first viewing. That's what you're saying.
I'm just saying it's not. I don't think it's the most important thing. That being said, sorry if I spoiled the fact that there is a marriage scene in this.
That's like that's not a spoiler.
There's a marriage in a montage in this film.
Like, it's not a spoiler.
No, but like you said, I understand and respect that people really care about spoilers. And
you raise good points. Like tweet at us. Like, let us know how you feel about spoilers. Because obviously we divide this show into spoilers and non-spoilers.
Exactly.
So we obviously care about them enough to do it like that.
No, of course. And I respect people that care about spoilers, and I'm just offering a different perspective.
There you go.
What was the point we were on originally?
Montages. Didn't like them.
I like the song. I think was the point I was going to bring up.
I like the song. I like the dad. He's a cool guy, isn't he?
He's a cool guy.
Actually, you know what? Voice cast. Like, amazing all-star voice cast.
Yeah,
this film,
dude. Like, if you just look at if you just look up the cast list of this film, it's pretty incredible. The people that signed on to do this.
I feel like I kind of we should talk about them in spoilers, because it's a beautiful surprise when you recognize some of the voices.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I was about to spoil some of them. I'm like, no, maybe we should hold our tongues.
Yeah, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of great actors doing some really great work in this film.
One because I think it's like in the opening scene. So like we can talk about Moses and maybe Ramses. We can talk about their voice actors.
Yeah, sure.
I thought Ray Fiennes was an amazing choice for Ramses.
I agree.
He really delivers beautiful, like sympathetic, like monologues. Like
one of the only actors in the film to do both his voice lines and also his singing lines.
Yeah, I didn't know Ray Fiennes could sing.
Yeah, he does it.
He does it all. He's a song and dance man. Does this now make you want to see Voldemort sing? Like,
I feel like Voldemort already does kind of sing, or at least he definitely dances.
In the inevitable Harry Potter musical that we'll get, like, do you want Ray Fiennes just to rock up and he's like,
I would love him to.
I wish I had a nose.
I can touch you now.
And he like tap dances over to Harry while he's like trapped in the gargoyle.
Dear.
Oh, but now I know Ray Fiennes. Have you seen The Constant Gardener?
No.
Oh, he's good. Have you seen The English Patient?
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Yes. Have you seen Schindler's List?
Yes. Oh my God. Could you imagine that Nazi just like...
Oh my God. An incredible... Schindler's List, that's
two characters who kill Jews in this that he's played now.
Eesh.
Ooh. What are you doing?
So, Val Kilmer. I think he does a great job of Moses as well.
Yeah, he does. He's great, isn't it? And fun fact, you know this fun fact I'm about to drop. Like, he also voices...
Yes, he voices a certain god.
I wanted to see where you were going with that. Like, he does voice God. God rocks up in this movie.
He does.
Yeah. Actually, no, that's all spoiler. We'll save that for spoilers.
We'll save it.
But God's in it, and he does a great job of voicing God, I think.
He does.
Although it's a very interesting interpretation of God that I want to talk about.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, in spoilers.
So how successful is this film of conveying this kind of religious story? Because I feel like they've taken great care. They preface the film with the fact that they have taken great care.
Is it like the start of the Assassin's Creed games? They always preface it like, this game was made by all faiths and religions, and we're not racists.
But I feel like they did kind of confide in many sources and tried to make something that was accurate and respectful to those religions. Yeah. And I feel like for them, like, it does kind of succeed. I think like
it doesn't feel preachy, if that makes sense.
No, it doesn't.
Like, it doesn't.
Sorry, you go.
I was just gonna say, like, it doesn't feel like it's advocating any certain faith. Like,
no, it doesn't.
It wasn't like be Jewish or be Muslim or.
And part of me thinks that's why that kind of second half is rushed. It's because that's where God kind of shows up.
Yeah, and that's chewed through a lot of biblical text. Like,
exactly,
yeah.
And but at the same time, I feel like the biggest negative I have is that I wish that there was more character, there was more conflict, there was more in just that second half. You know?
Yeah. What do you reckon? This is not a spoiler because it's what he's most famous for. He's famous for parting the sea. Do you want to talk about that now?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Dude, what do you think of it?
Oh, it was wonderfully animated.
It was beautiful.
There's some amazing ideas in that. for instance, as like you see that wall of water, and then
There's
flashes of lightning, and there's a whale.
You see a
swimming.
whale.
Again, silhouette work. It's quite incredible,
wonderful, isn't it? I was like, holy shit, they have a whale there. It would be so funny if it like tried to swim out the river and there's a giant whale
kind of
just
just
on top of the
starts
ground.
like flopping on the ground like a fish or something. Yeah,
And God's like, oh, whoops.
Oops.
But it's an amazing moment. It's just like, it's pretty awesome. And like, I've always wondered why, because I've seen the story a couple times. I always wonder why they run into the sea. Like, because God like chucks like a fiery tornado at the bad guys, and you're just like, you think that would turn you away, and then the Jews are running through the part of the sea, and then they're like after him, and they run back. Like, what do you think's gonna happen? Like, they have God on their side, and you're running into a sea that He parted. It's like, what do you think's gonna happen?
Well, again,
guys?
I think like if the film had really gone into it, one of the most interesting aspects of this story is the fact that Ramses II, for all intents and purposes, in that society, is God.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
there's some good themes in this actually.
like so I wish that again that they'd delve more into that. Because Ramses II is like a really interesting kind of figure, given that we know that this is a religious text and a kind of a story, whereas what the evidence we have of, say, ancient Egypt of Ramses II's reign doesn't include all of this, and is actually quite a successful reign. Now, of course, there's bias in that because, we're getting evidence of his reign from a lot of, scripture on walls that, you know, and who kind of oversees that whole process. Well, it's Ramses because he's the leader, and I want this erected in my honor. I want this.
Which, by the way, he inherits mostly from his father. Like, he's not that passionate about it. He's just like, I have to stick to tradition. And
yeah, but I mean, like,
he just builds for the sake of building.
Let's say the real Ramses II. It seems he's more of someone that.
Oh, you're talking about the actual historical figure,
Yeah.
not,
I'm saying that's what's interesting about it.
Oh, you like seeing the juxtaposition between the two?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think more of Ramses II might have made the second half of this film better. I don't think the second. Again, I think that this film is paced well. I think like
you're really shitting on the second half. Like,
yeah, I'm not shitting on it. I just wanted it to be better. I wanted it to be as good.
I just want more. Damn it.
Yeah.
You know what was interesting? When you think of Ramses II, do you not think of like Ozymandias, the poem? You know, where he's like, watching the ruins and like, I just kind of think of that whenever I saw him. I'm like, your empire crumbles. He's like building it for ages, and I'm like,
yeah. But overall, I think like for me, I think this is a good movie.
Is that what you're giving it? Like, you'd lean more towards a yes and a no?
I would.
Thursday night, like you're watching it, like.
Oh, but this is the thing. I don't know if it is a great Thursday night film. Like, I enjoy it. I enjoy this movie, so I would give it a thumbs up.
People should go out of their way and see this movie. Why?
No, I don't know. I don't necessarily know if someone should go out of their way to see this film. I think it's one of the better adaptations of this storyline that is out there.
It's true. You and I on our list have the 10 Commandments, that 1950s film, which is basically this movie.
Yes.
And like, have you seen that movie?
No.
No, neither. I think we put it on there because it's an old movie we both really want to watch. It's got Charles Heston, so that's going to be great.
It's going to be great, yeah.
It's going to be amazing. But like, yeah, I don't know. I guess we can't compare the two until we've seen 10 Commandments, but I think it's probably the best version of the story I've seen.
So far, yeah. The best version we've seen, not including
so
10 Commandments, which we obviously haven't seen so far.
But who would you recommend this for, this story?
I think it's worth a watch. I think it's worth a watch. I don't know if it's you have your mates over Thursday night and let's sit down and watch The Prince of Egypt. I think this film is like, in terms of animation, it's animated quite well. It's quite well made. There's some good ideas in it in terms of
were you nostalgic
execution for it? Nostalgic for it?
Because you've seen this before, right?
Yeah, not really. Not really, to be honest. I remember liking it as a kid because Ramses II was in it, and then he rocks up at. I literally remember as a kid, I was like, he rocks up in the end in like that classic kind of, the Ramses II like war armor that he's known for, which is like the blue helmet and like the blue kind of armor, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I also liked some of the songs when I was a kid as well, but I wasn't weirdly nostalgic for it. But I found it enjoyable. Like, it wasn't one of my favorite movies as a kid. I've only watched it once, maybe twice as a kid. And I wasn't nostalgic for it now, but I still appreciate it as I appreciated it back then.
Okay.
That it was enjoyable.
So that's a yes.
Look, yeah, it's a yes. Yeah,
like, yeah, I guess if you got to push me, like...
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. If I was someone random, like, what would I get out of this movie? I guess maybe if I was curious about Moses knew nothing about them is probably the best way of finding out that story. If you're a lover of movies, do you want to watch it? Like, there's nothing like that extraordinary about it that makes it like a great moment of old cinema that you gotta see this. Like, I don't think it's that insightful to DreamWorks as a company because they pretty much ditched 2D animation after this.
Yes and no, because like again, it's like they took this and then they did The Road to El Dorado.
Oh, that's true. Oh man, I'm so keen for us to watch El Dorado.
Dude, we should watch Road to El Dorado.
We should.
Speaking of stuff I'm nostalgic for, I haven't watched El Dorado in a while, but man, El Dorado.
Does it shit on this? Like,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it does.
Because I haven't seen El Dorado, so I'm excited. We'll have to do an episode on that at some point.
For sure.
Yeah. Oh, would I give it a thumbs? I'm gonna go yes. I'm going to say yes. I think you should go out of your way to watch this. And I think you should because it probably is the best version of the story. And I think it is a story you should know because...
Yeah. I'll also say as well, in terms of a positive, that I really do appreciate that it's dark and it doesn't shy away from slavery and those themes in it.
Actually, for that reason, maybe I would say yes, but for children. I think children should watch this.
For sure,
yeah.
I think
you as an adult probably know the story by now and you probably wouldn't get much out of it. But if you have a child or you are a child...
there's some weird adult jokes in this that are kind of weird.
Yeah, but which Dreamworks with Shrek continues the tradition of.
Yeah, no, but I appreciate that it keeps it dark and it keeps it real in terms of what we're talking about in terms of slavery and power and those and those kind of themes. Like, because it could have just kind of swept that to the side.
Yeah.
And
it could have. If it was very Disney or something like that, it would have done
exactly.
That,
and it doesn't because it's
But this one's like PG, so it bends towards it.
Yeah.
So, I'll give it a thumbs up.
Sure.
Brenton, what adult jokes are you talking about now?
So Moses gets... Okay, let's get into spoilers. So, spoilers, nothing but spoilers. Nothing but spoilers. Spoiler section.
We can finally do it, Brenton.
So Moses is getting a bath after he's been found in the desert.
Oh, yes!
And he's saying, no, ladies, you've washed me everywhere, you've washed me everywhere, you've washed me every crack in my body. Oh.
Ooh.
What's the line? It's like, ooh.
Like they're like scrubbing his dick or something like that.
Yeah,
like...
but that's the joke, but it's like, ooh. Ooh, so I thought. Like... And it's like
my Moses,
what?
like
it's like
like also they're three really old ladies and they're like all kind of laughing to themselves at him, like such a weird moment. I'm like, why is this in the movie?
Exactly, yeah. And then it just we just move on. Yeah.
Yeah. What else? Like what? You were holding back on spoilers. Talk to me. Okay, you know why I don't like that montage?
Why?
Because that's like 3 movies worth of content that happens in that one montage.
That's a lifetime worth of content of this guy. Yeah.
Like he goes from being exiled, self-exiled, I should say, and he goes with this chick, and there's like a weird scene with him in the well, and but then because he just met her, there might be sexual tension between them, but you're not really sure if she's gonna go up on it. But immediately goes through one song, and they get married halfway through it, so you don't even see them fall in love.
That's right.
Because I think the scene before he gets married to her, they're just dancing or practicing the fight or something like that. Like, they're not even doing anything romantic.
Yeah, they do a little dance. They do a little jig. And
they do a little jig, and then it hard cuts to a wedding. You're like, where did this come from?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but you forgive it because of her father, who is one of the best characters in this movie.
Who doesn't actually really do anything, but he's got I think he's got a great design and a great voice actor, so he kind of becomes endearing.
He's great, isn't he? He's just a jolly guy. He's just like he just doesn't give a shit who
he
Moses
certainly
is.
Yeah. In terms of spoilers, we talked about the Red Sea.
We did.
Ramsey's haircut as a child.
Oh my god!
What's going on with the side ponytail and the shaven head? Apart from the side ponytail, it's an interesting look to say the least.
Is there hieroglyphic evidence of this haircut?
I have no idea.
Or is this an artistic choice? You reckon?
Let's go with artistic choice because that's an. And then what's funny about it is that his son shares the same.
That's right.
Hairdo. Yeah.
Could you imagine if your father made you get a haircut that he had as a kid?
Son, I know you may have seen photos of me with a mohawk when I was 10.
Father, why is this hieroglyph of you showing this haircut of me?
Because, son, it's the best goddamn haircut there is.
Is this what the gods ask?
No, it's what I ask.
And I am God.
Exactly.
Okay, Father. But yeah, speaking of that race though, whoa, what a great race. Like Like they destroy half of Cairo, by the way.
That was that was one of my least favorite moments in the film.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I feel like it was the part that the animation couldn't hold up. For one, that was because there was too much.
As
action.
in, like 2018, you're looking at it now. Like,
yeah, like there's too much action, couldn't hold up, and I liked thematically, and I understood why it was in the film that, like, we've watched in that opening montage these slaves work for years to build these structures,
and these two
whatnot.
fuckers just
and
like
these two
burn it down.
Dickheads, just destroy it in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just the animation doesn't hold up, so you're just like, oh man, like they were using it so smart to like cover these kind of the technology of the time. I guess they're trying to like cover the what they couldn't basically. It was too ambitious for its own good, segment. Yeah,
they couldn't deliver.
There was another weird joke in that. There was another weird adult joke when Ramses II is like racing his chariot like above, like, so it's like Moses on street level and it's above, and it's like, you've always looked up to me, brother. And then Moses is like, that's true, but it's not a great view. And it goes to this weird shot, and it's like him looking up his skirt at his butt or something.
I don't think they had underwear back then. I think he's just like looking at his dick, just going past his horse.
Oh, okay. And then we just kind of move on from that, I guess.
Yeah, and it's like, also speaking of adult jokes, like when the wife is first brought to them as a slave, and they're like, "Oh, you have a brother," and like they're kind of forking her off onto him, and there's like, "Oh, let's take her upstairs." Like, it's like weird sex jokes in there.
I don't know if they're overt, but it's
Oh, well,
yeah.
As adult, I picked up on them.
Yeah.
I guess because you know why she's there. Like exactly, they're selling her to him.
But again, I feel like that's to this film's credit in a weird way.
Yeah, and it's weird. Yeah, it's a weird moment, but I enjoy it's there.
Yeah, and like it's not.
Because it shows that this was a thing that happened. Yeah,
this kid doesn't pander. This film doesn't pander to kids.
Nor do I think it's trying to romanticize ancient Egypt.
No, it's just sorry.
I don't think it's trying to romanticize ancient Egypt.
Yeah,
like,
no.
I think it's like going like there's some fuck things that happened back then.
Yeah,
yeah, and like the two brothers, they're pretty much dicks. Like now they're in spoilers. Can we the scene where they're pouring?
Let's talk about that scene. Yeah,
because
yeah, they pour the wine. Moses kind of sets up his little kidney of wine. And he like throws it over, it smashes, and then he's like, and then they see Ramses, and they're like, "Oh, Ramses, get down here!
You dickhead, get the fuck down here! I'll
and then
pick you up."
It's the two priests, by the way, that get
it's the two. Like,
and then Moses is like, "Well, now they think it's you. You might as well just do this anyway." And then he throws, he pours another like
he just
basin
pulls it out of nowhere
over them again.
You know. I wish it just kept escalating.
Yeah.
And then he just pulls more and more vases from like behind the wall, and he's just like throwing a couch. And he just like empties like a full like a crowd of things on top of these guys, and they just end up being murdered. You know, like in Twins where the chain falls, like it's like a version of that.
Oh my god, yeah, good callback to Twins episode 29. Oh, great episode, guys. Yeah,
the last episode we did.
Yeah. Speaking of that scene though, it reminds me that I wrote a note that said the use of like the before and after motif kind of idea. There's a lot of kind of visual cycling that goes on.
Ooh.
So in this film that I appreciate.
If you look at this frame,
it's the showing and not telling thing.
Yeah.
So that scene specifically gets a repeat in this film. So beforehand, it's like Moses messing around, and the second time that we have like it's like kind of shot for shot the same thing.
Yeah.
Is when he pushes that guard.
Oh,
and he saves us, and he pushes him off, and he dies on the floor. And then they all look up and see Moses, and it's like, actually Moses in that moment. There's another scene that clearly like mirrors something at the start and the beginning when there's a change that's obviously happened, and that's at the beginning with Moses' scene with his adopted father that shows the structure of the mural to his father's head that's kind of in the background, and they're standing on profile in the foreground having this discussion.
Oh yeah, it's good composition, isn't it?
Yeah. And then the same visual motive is used later on between Moses and Ramses.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, dude.
Mate, you're putting in your film criticism hat. Look at that.
There's another one that was really apparent, but for the life of me, I can't think of it in this moment.
This is like YouTuber, like video essay, like level stuff. This is great.
No, I guess I just really appreciated that, like that the film's
it's
smart.
intelligent.
It's intelligent. They've put some thought into it, and I think that's why it kind of flows so well. Yeah.
Yeah. There's some very intelligent stuff. There's some very unintelligent stuff as well, Brenton.
Yeah.
Brenton, why does Moses have a wig? Speaking of twists, my biggest twist of this film was that when he walks into the desert and he throws off his chains, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's done with that life now. But then it's revealed that this whole film he's had a wig.
You'll notice there's actually a scene at the start where Ramses in jest kind of turns the wig around. Like on his head, so the back faces the front.
It.
Yeah, and then Moses.
Is that when they rock up late to the ceremony? And
exactly. Yeah. And then Moses has to be like, oh, and he turns it back around to face the right way.
Shit, I didn't notice. I'm like, you're great with short hair, Moses. You should just kept it.
Yeah.
It's just like boss. It's like when Thor gets a haircut. It was like it's like that similar kind of scene.
Man.
Jeff Goldblum's in this movie.
There's what?
Jeff Goldblum is in this movie.
He is. There's again, just look at the cast list.
It's
Steve
crazy.
Martin.
Well, don't after the film.
Yeah.
You know what's weird about it though? Like Martin Short and who's the other guy?
Steve Martin.
Yeah, pardon me. Yeah, Steve Martin and then Martin Short.
The priests.
Yeah, they're both immediately were the funniest actors of all time, and they're playing these two straight characters.
And they're singing one of the worst songs of all time called.
I hate
You're
it so
playing
much.
with the big boys now.
I fucking hated it. I really hated it. Let's talk a little bit about faith in this movie, because the whole film is basically Moses trying to convince Ramses that he's that God is his God is real, and he's like, oi, slavery is not a good thing. You and I both know it is not a good thing. And my God's real. And he's like, nah. He fucking stands in front of Ramses in a full room full of witnesses. His staff turns to a fucking snake in front of everyone. And Ramses still like, oh, what's all this, mate? This isn't a real God. Oh, what's that, a toy snake? What are you doing? This is, you're in ancient Egypt. If someone can do that in the middle of a crowd, how is there just not whispers from the general public who witnessed that event going, holy shit, this guy turned his staff into a snake?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to the movie, we never really see the general public, apart from the slaves, obviously.
Yeah. Do you reckon this is all mannequins and he's just doing it to feel good about himself?
Yeah, but I mean, part of me thinks that Ramses still kind of believes, in his own, obviously, religion. Yeah. In the sense that, later on, when the river turns to blood,
again.
Then the priest, he goes, priest, what? Explain this. And they say, oh, look at this. And they put some red powder in the water and it does, the same effect.
Yeah.
Now, they do the same thing with the snake in the song. They conjure up two snakes. And so, I guess to Ramses, it's oh yeah, it's kind of feasible.
It's like a magic trick, but
we have two snakes, I don't know.
Yeah, but he puts powder, they put powder in a bowl. The whole river turns to blood. And it's mate, it's there's a line. There's a line. I would be believing him. But here's the thing as well. The famous 9 plagues of, the 10 plagues of Egypt or whatever it is, go down. Dude, that scene was amazing. God goes apeshit. Nature just goes berserk, and the Pharaoh still doesn't cave in. It's obviously by this point God is real. There's a guy here who ain't ancient Egypt. And
speaking of God being real, can we just? One of my favorite scenes in this film is actually when God
on the tree.
No, when God sends out kind of the light that passes through Egypt and kills all the children that don't have, the marked door.
No, that is the darkest thing in this movie.
That is, for sure. God. But that is a great, it's such a good scene.
That's the perfect execution of that scene. I don't know how they could have improved it.
It's
what beautiful art as well. When the light in the sky, it's like a galaxy. It turns into this white wormhole.
And it takes each kind of soul or up and
it feels so divine and it's scary.
Yeah,
it's
terrifying.
The light it's kind, but you know what it's there for. And I think the darkest moment of that scene is when the kid's carrying a vase.
I was about to bring that up. Yeah.
Holy shit!
You just hear it smash.
And the kid's arm.
Yeah.
God, that's probably out of all 30 episodes, that's probably one of the most intense moments I've seen in cinema.
Yeah.
That was just. I was
great
just
scene.
Damn, and some child just this kid just uninvolved with all this. He's just a kid, and just.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's the thing. That's the thing with Old Testament God. He does some dark stuff. For all loving God. When he kills all the cows. I'm God, what are you killing all the cows for? Well, they're not involved in all this. It's dangerous talking about religious stuff, but when you compare the God in the Old Testament versus God in the New Testament, God in the Old Testament does some.
There's a significant change that occurs.
It's almost like they're written by two different authors. But no, Old Testament God, he in this movie is very interesting because he gets triggered very easily. Like the scene where he is the tree, Moses is like, "Oh, what's all this?" And he's like, "I am God," and he's like, "Oh, I don't know about this," and he's like, "You fucking test me!" Like, do you notice this? Like,
he's very and I like again, like the movie could have been like, "Oh, let's abide by the New Testament and make this God."
Old Testament, but
yeah, but it doesn't. It shows the truth of this story and what
God's like some temperamental kid. He's like, "You all listen to me. Like, if you don't, I'm gonna send this guy out. He's gonna turn sticks to snakes. You watch out."
But I appreciate it, and I appreciate that they have the conversation as well as like we've been here for like however many generations, and like God's done nothing. Why all of a sudden and whatnot?
Yeah,
like, it doesn't shy away from those kind of like, let's say,
those skepticisms.
Those inconsistencies kind of in the narrative, and it kind of embraces that and.
Yeah,
which
and
is
also
this
movie's job was not to fix biblical error.
No,
like it was meant to present biblical error.
Yeah,
where God acts like this.
Let's just talk about the one glaring plot hole in this film quickly.
Oh, okay.
How the hell does adult Moses?
Thank you.
Get triggered by his mother's
song,
his mother's lullaby to him before he was pushed into the Nile River as an infant. Now, you can argue that there is divine intervention in this film, that God kind of plants that memory in his mind.
Yeah.
And then he has the dream, which could be the same thing of God planting that dream in his mind so that he realizes. I'm just saying that for me, that moment felt kind of silly.
Oh, I was livid. I was looking at it like, what the fuck? Like when the sister's trying to convince him, and Jeff Goldblum's like, "Oh, she's off her meds. Get her away." And he's like, "Oh, you'll be whipped for this." And he's like, "I'm your sister. Fuck you." And then like she starts singing, and like he's just like, "Wait a minute," and his life flashes before his eyes.
Wait a hot second.
Turn the stove off right there, and like, and it all comes back to him. It's like, what? Like, yeah, that's absolutely ludicrous. Even for a story where he has God on his side, absolutely. Yeah. Like, I can understand the sea parting. I can understand like these divine moments, but not that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
It's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. Also, another stupid thing was the wall with the crocodiles. How is it that Moses has grown up in this fucking palace for years of his life and not once walked past the wall where the king orders the babies to be eaten by crockies?
Maybe it's just tucked away somewhere that he just has never been.
It's a huge wall.
Yeah.
Like, and also what's weird is that he discovers the wall where he sees it's the truth, and then like the Pharaoh is like immediately behind him in the middle of the night. He just like
yes, fully dressed and just
it's just like it's like enter the Pharaoh. It's like. This is a little bit convenient, isn't it? And then the movie has the audacity to repeat it when Ramsey's son sees it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Paint over the wall.
Yeah.
Like, why are you
paint over the wall?
Why are you recording this moment of history?
Yeah.
It's like you're the victor. You get to write your own history. It's like,
Hey Nathan.
Yes.
Should we talk about this film's poster?
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about it, buddy.
Yeah, dude.
I can see you're just itching.
Oh man, I'm itching. I'm itching to talk about this.
All right.
That's a damn good poster. I gotta say. I like it.
Okay, tell me why you like it, Brenton.
I like that silhouette work. I like the artwork. I haven't looked at this little slogan yet.
I'll get this slogan up, but
the power is real, the story is forever, the time is now. That's a terrible slogan. Let's be honest.
It's a very bad slogan. I don't know if I'm a big fan of the poster. Like, why is his... Okay, so the poster is like his face, like as a silhouette, and inside the silhouette is like the pyramids in Egypt, and on the outside is just black. And it has like the chariot of him like overlooking Egypt. Oh, actually, now I'm describing it. Maybe it is quite good.
I mean, it's good. Like, I mean, like it doesn't really convey. It conveys that he's the Prince of Egypt.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really show the whole story in the terms of Moses's let's say where it ends, as opposed to like this is just the beginning. Let's say 20 minutes. Of the film.
What I would have loved if it maybe showed like him amongst all the slaves, and maybe he's looking up to the audience, and maybe like we see him rise or something like that.
Look, quick fix for this idea. Like, I agree. Maybe he's there on his chariot with the horses. Below, there's the pyramids in the Nile River, and then you just see the thousands of slaves as well.
Yeah, I feel like we need the
pyramids.
slaves in there because that's like that's like the heart of the movie, is like freeing the slaves. Yeah. And title talk, Brenton. Do you reckon there was a Prince of Egypt in The Prince of Egypt?
There was two princes.
There were,
Egypt.
But he wasn't really a prince. He was like adopted prince. Like
he wasn't a real prince.
He wasn't a real prince. Like in our family, we don't use step, but oh boy, I'll be using step with him. Like, Like, I don't know. Like,
it's okay. Like, it's like I was thinking, what could they have called it that was better?
Exodus, Gods and Kings.
You nailed it. And then they should have just had Christian Bale. Like, they didn't even need to be an animation. Just needed Christian Bale and Joel Edgerton.
Oh,
it could have been perfect.
Would have been great. Maybe called Gods of Egypt.
Oh my god!
Have you seen that movie?
Dude, I have. I've seen clips of that
movie. Have you
movie.
really?
I don't need to see the whole.
Oh, you've just seen clips.
Just clips, dude. Yeah.
I have seen the movie.
Oh no!
Oh, it's horseshit. It's one of the worst movies ever made. It's so bad. It's like enjoyably bad though. It's like
who's in that? It's like Nikolai Coster-Waldau, Brenton Thwaites, and what's his name?
Jeffrey Rush is in it.
Jeffrey Rush, that's right. He's Thoth.
Yeah.
And Jared Butler.
Oh,
who is Anubis, I believe.
Yeah, and he does his Scottish accent in this movie.
I am Anubis.
He does a Scottish accent playing an Egyptian, like,
wonderful.
But even all that idiocy just aside, it's so much fun because it's so horrible.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Never 20 years, man. Let's have a watch.
Oh, it came out like 2016. In 2036, we'll do Gods of Egypt. Audience, hold us to it.
Stay tuned, guys.
Stay tuned, but yeah.
Yeah, so, you know.
I don't think they could have improved the title. Maybe nah. Because if they called Exodus, then they tied it to the religious text, which is this is more like a general historical kind of film, so.
I think Prince of Egypt's a good title because, you know, it kind of differs from the actual, like, it differs from the biblical story a bit, but it's still, I don't know. I don't know.
How about like when God comes knocking?
Oh dear.
How did they make this? How did they make this? How did they make this movie? How did they make this movie?
How'd they do it?
Alright, so have you got some fun facts for me?
I do. So, let's talk about the Prince of Egypt and how the hell they made this.
How the bloody hell did they make this movie?
This film won an Oscar. I will preface this by saying that.
Is that how they made it?
They
made it by winning an Oscar, they did.
I gotta say, I just gotta mention, this film did win an Oscar for Best Original Song. And it wasn't the opening song.
It should have been. Like, what song was it again?
It was the Believe song. It was the song that Miriam, Moses' sister, begins to sing as the Jews are set free and they leave Egypt.
Well, obviously that's the one that's going to win the bloody Academy Award. If it's about like the Jewish faith persisting and they're like, we'll free ourselves. Like, of course it's going to be
that
the
is
one
very
that gets
true.
Accolades. This film had very little merchandise, Brenton, which is very interesting. So they wanted this film to come across as like artsy and like, yeah, we're Dreamworks. We're like, we make artsy films. So like they thought, we don't want this to be a big studio blockbuster product. And so they didn't make any merchandise for this. There's very little merchandise if you want to find Prince of Egypt. Like get a plushie Moses.
I wanted a Moses action figure. What are we talking about?
I wanted the shrub. I wanted my own Jewish slave to play with. Like, okay, maybe you can see why they held back on the merchandise.
Yes, I can see now.
Yeah. You know how you said it felt like they were faithful to the biblical text and they were very cautious with it. It's because literally over 100 people were consulted for this movie.
Wow.
They got where is it? Here you go. They got biblical scholars, Christian, Jewish, Muslim theologians, and Arab American leaders. So they got like literally. The fact I found it said over 100, and they asked them, like, they showed them the script, they showed them storyboards. Like, have you seen that film? Have you seen Hail Caesar?
Yes, I love Hail Caesar. It's Coen Brothers, yeah.
It's that scene where like Josh Brolin has like the religious leaders in his conference room, and they're all talking about if the movie's going to be faithful.
Yeah.
You know that scene?
Yep.
DreamWorks literally did that.
Wow.
And once the movie came out, like when people were writing their reviews, they said, no, this is as polite as it could have been to like all faiths.
Wow. That's really interesting and cool. That
yeah, good on them for doing
that. During the starting race chariot sequence,
the
statue's falling nose is a playful nod to an archaeological mystery of ancient Egypt, the Sphinx's nose. As well, so the Sphinx's nose is missing in real life,
gone,
and no one knows what happened to it.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought archaeologists had their theories, or like...
Well, there'd be theories.
Yeah.
But
that's just a theory.
But this film just creates its own. It's quite a playful
Do you reckon this is the most likely theory? That
that
Ramses and Moses just knocked
that
in
the horses
chariot?
are running up like the ramp.
Speaking of unbelievable moments.
You know, yeah, physics just didn't apply for that like 3 minutes of the film.
God no. Like, especially like yeah. Oh. Yeah. Did you know that? Yeah. So you mentioned before that Ralph Fiennes sang his own lines. A lot of the characters didn't.
No, they didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, which I think was for the better. I don't think Val Kilmer would have, maybe he is a great singer, but I think it was wise. Because in the 90s, they did that a lot with the musicals. They hired proper Broadway Tony Award-winning singers.
Yeah, for decades they've done that, yeah.
Yeah. But hey, you know what? Steve Martin and Martin Short, they did do their own voices.
They
as
did.
did Michelle Pfeiffer.
They did, yeah.
Yeah. By the way, Michelle Pfeiffer, great voice acting.
Oh, well done.
She was great. When I
Good
heard
on
her
you,
voice,
Michelle.
I'm like, Catwoman, you're now
Oof.
playing with cat sphinxes, you are.
You're playing with the
Big boys now. Wouldn't it be great if Michelle Pfeiffer rocked up in her Catwoman suit, just in this film? Just she's like, Egyptians love the cats. Yeah, deleted scenes. You want to know a little bit about deleted scenes?
Sure, dude.
Buddy, there was some... not just deleted scenes, I should rephrase that. Deleted ideas. So this is like when they were just first formulating the film. So they had a scene with a talking camel that was scrapped, and Ramses was originally supposed to have 2 evil cats. Like, so like the Siamese cats...
My mind went there straight away. Yeah.
Yeah. Could you imagine if he had those?
We are Siamese.
Oh my god. Actually I haven't seen that movie, embarrassingly.
Oh,
wait,
really?
no. What is that from? Lady and the Tramp, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. I haven't seen Lady and the Tramp before.
You haven't...
Oh, that's definitely older than 20 years.
So you know what 31 is, guys. You know what 30... Oh, stay tuned.
We just did animation. Like, give me a break. But you know what? I haven't seen Lady and the Tramp, but I have seen the Siamese cats.
Dude, they're pretty famous.
My grandmother, when I was younger, used to sing me that song. Like...
Ooh.
She used to love the song. I don't think she understood that.
I'm sure it's a great personal memory for you, but that's so creepy. It's like,
yeah. We are Siamese,
if you please.
Ding ding ding. It's like oof. But yeah. So he was gonna have a talking camel and some cats. What else? Okay, so funnily, the camel does rock up in the movie. So he's
is that the camel that he sees in the desert?
Yeah. So that's meant to be talking. Also, Moses had 2 dogs as sidekicks,
which he does in the film.
He does.
They're tied up, and then they run over to him when he's singing his song. And
yeah.
stuff, yeah.
So they're meant to be there for like the whole movie and that kind of stuff, which
Right.
I kind of wish he had when like they were parting the sea. Like he's just parting the sea, and like the dogs are behind him. When he gets the 10 Commandments at the end. Like he comes back down from the mountain, he's got like the 2 tablets, and then like the dogs are just running by his side. Like,
Yeah.
That would have been great. Yeah. Did you see that coming, by the way? Of course the film's going to end the 10 Commandments.
I mean, it was just shoehorned in at the end.
Yeah, it didn't need to be in the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
So we just got Moses. Also in the original script, Ramses was more sympathetic. So he was more sympathetic to the slaves not being slaves, because he was like, oh, this is kind of shit. But then the script writers realized this made Moses look like a jerk for refusing to work with Ramses.
They realized that it took all the conflict out of the situation.
Yeah. So they changed that. Also, fun fact with this film, it's banned in Egypt.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And the Egypt Film Board, they banned it because they banned it on the grounds that the depiction in the media of Islamic prophets, which includes Moses, is forbidden in Islam. So ironically, you can't watch The Prince of Egypt in Egypt. But I'm pretty sure there are bootleg copies running about.
I'm sure there would be. Yeah, definitely. This was the most expensive non-Disney animated theatrical movie ever made at the time.
Wow.
And it was beaten out in 2001, finally, by Final Fantasy, The Spirits Within.
Was it really?
Yeah.
That movie cost more to make than this?
It did.
Wow. What a waste. Sorry, Final Fantasy fans. Yeah, I that's sadly all I have. Do you got some cool facts?
During the parting of the Red Sea, many viewers thought that they saw a whale, including us, swim with a school of fish past the travellers.
Is it not a whale?
However, the sea creature moves its tail side to side, which whales do not.
Oh.
This means that the sea creature was a whale shark.
Which
Fun facts, everyone.
because he passed the Dead Sea, isn't it? Wait, is it I didn't even know geographically which sea he passed. Oh, the Red Sea.
Red
there
Sea.
you go,
Yeah.
Were there whale sharks in the Red Sea?
I have no clue.
Were there even whales in the Red Sea? Like, it's a sea, so it's all connected to the ocean. So, like, I don't know, man. Maybe.
Speaking of that sequence, though, the 4-minute parting of the Red Sea sequence took 10 animators, 2 years to complete.
Oh my god.
4 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It shows. Like, it's gorgeously animated. Like, well done.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude. Prince of Egypt.
Prince of Egypt. Well, I think we've voiced some opinions, Brenton, but should we?
Pay Power to the people, yeah. Power to the people, yeah. Pass it
to the people. Every week, Brenton just slowly does more and more of a dance as he sings that. Like this week, he was really swaying. Like, it's great,
dude. I was into it.
Yeah. Is this how you like go to sleep every night? Like you just jiggle into bed and you just
I just power.
Like in the shower in the morning, and like everyone in your house is like, for fuck's sake, shut up,
dude. Just like daily activities in life, I just sing that song.
Yeah, I understand, buddy. All right, so on Rotten Tomatoes, this film, Brenton, has 79% from critics and 76% from audiences.
Dude, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Yeah. So, should we see what they're saying?
Ron Wells. Film threat. Much of the animation is stunning and all of the vocal performances are good to great. It's just much of the passion seems to be in not stepping on anyone's belief or interpretations, instead of in telling the story in the most compelling way possible. 3 out of 5.
He's right.
He's got a point.
I love the way you said film threat just before. I think that's the best time those ever words have been spoken.
Yeah, I get what he's saying, because I think in the second half, I think that's what I was saying. I feel like let's just delve a bit more into these characters and maybe take a tiny bit more creative license, which I don't think you would have been treading on any religious toes, so to speak.
No.
By doing that, I think you could have still kept the integrity of those faiths while exploring how those characters would deal with those events caused by a divine power.
So no, I'm back on board with him. Garth Franklin from Dark Horizons. He said, he gave it a bad review. He said, it could have worked with well thought out characters, but limps, along with mostly flat and unmemorable ones that populate the picture.
He obviously hadn't met that priest guy out in the desert.
He really had. Yeah, buddy. If you paid attention to that guy, it's like, no, they all stand out. I reckon they're all right.
Exactly.
I mean, what else are you going to do? It's like, you can't really give them new storylines. Like,
I liked Ramses as well, you know.
I thought great.
Ramses
he's a good bloke. He's
Moses
just like,
as well, yeah.
Remember, he's like, oh, you're my brother. He's like, nah. He's like, They're always like, nah, put this away. Yeah.
John J. Puccio, movie Metropolis. Maybe we should overlook the fact that the film's music and songs will be forgotten long before its images die away. 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. I guess he's got a point. Like, yeah, you're right. None of the music is not as good as like a Disney Renaissance.
Oh
film.
No, but
this came out in the middle of the Disney Renaissance, so I can understand why the music might have been disappointing.
Like, the 90s, man. It was like Disney was going off.
Like Mulan came out around around the same time.
It was like Aladdin.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Little Mermaid did as well. Lion King was the big one. Notre Dame, yeah.
Tarzan.
Tarzan was early 2000s, I believe.
It was 99 actually.
Seriously?
I know that because
I thought it was 2000. Yeah.
You wish it was
2000. I think you're right.
I really hope I'm right with this.
Dude,
fact.
thank you, Phil Collins, for doing that soundtrack.
Oh, you'll be in my heart.
I wanna know.
It's such a weird choice for a movie, isn't it? To have Phil Collins do a musical soundtrack.
But it works in the most. It was the most.
It's
beautiful.
It's
beautiful
fantastic.
Amalgamation.
You know my favorite song in that movie is, which I'm really actually blanking on. It's that one where they're all banging the pots and pans in the camp. Ow! It's so good. And, like the elephant's playing the trumpet, like
wop wop woppity wop wop. Yeah,
they're all scatting, and you're just like, you're African animals. You shouldn't be doing this, or South American animals, wherever they are.
Nerd of S, 1 star. Most people enjoy this movie. I, however, do not. You do you, Nerd of S.
Well
you
done.
do you, buddy.
Oh, here's another great one. Cheryl T, 3 stars. A few parts not biblical, but okay.
Oh my gosh. Random Thoughts says, proof that Christian movies can be good.
I mean, the only Christian movies we've seen have been like the VeggieTales stuff, and then this. Like, do you remember the Christian Living? I mean, we did the tangent on Christian Living back then. Like,
I feel like the proof that Christian movies can be good is actually The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
That's true. Well, that has Christian themes, and I think that's a straight up Christian adaptation.
Oh, like a Christian adaptation then?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, again, I haven't seen...
Did you see Noah?
As many. No, I haven't, with Russell Crowe.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
The big one I haven't seen is Mel Gibson's the Passion of the Christ.
Passion of the Christ, that's right. I haven't seen that either, embarrassingly. Yeah. Oh, we have. Would you consider the Last Temptation of Christ?
Yeah, I
an
would. I
adaptation?
would actually. Yeah.
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 Even though it really diverges from it radically at the end, but like
it does. Yeah.
was that good? What did we say? No, we said thumbs down, didn't we? Yeah,
I
we
mean,
did.
like I said, there was some interesting talking points in that film, but
What's better, this or that?
this.
Yeah, this by a mile. Yeah, absolutely.
Dr. Sir Bruce Armstrong's motherfucker the third says, the book was better.
Have you read the Bible?
I have, yeah.
Have you actually? Like, how much of the Bible have you read?
I've read the Bible.
Have you read the whole Bible?
Yeah.
You've read the whole Bible?
Yeah, dude.
Dude, how? When?
Oh, dude, I did it. I started in like junior school. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna read the Bible.
Oh
and
my
I
God.
Did. And I was like, this isn't like Harry Potter. These are all these weird little paragraph story things. Like, what's going on here?
Oh, that's the best shit you've ever said. This isn't Harry Potter. I love that. I love that you're just finishing Harry Potter. And
But I was like expecting it to be like, you know, like what I remember when I started it, like how like short and succinct it kind of is.
Yeah.
So like
you're a prophet Moses and a thumping good one.
You're expecting like these like, you know, I don't know. But I did read it when I was young. Yeah, I started reading the Bible. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Just like imagine Hagrid just rocking up and it's just as God. I'm a what? You're a prophet. Oh, that'd be great. Because like the little like Moses school and
gosh. Oh man, yeah.
Oh.
But I've read the Bible.
Good on you. I've read the Old Testament. I literally, because I did the same thing as you. I was like, I'm going to read the whole Bible because I'm like, let's see what everyone's talking about. And it's such a mission. Like it's so much of the Bible like is just like family trees. It's just like, and Goliath was the son of this, who was the son of that, but then he had 12 sons, and then he had 3 wives who also had 12 sons, and here are all their names. And you're like, oh God, like for the time the plot rocks around, you're like, and then he believed in God and all was well, and you're just like, oh, come on.
Trace Beaver, 10 times better than Exodus, Gods and Kings. It's kind of true.
It's true.
It's kind of true. Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely true, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolute best version of the story. So, yeah, that's the people, and we passed it.
Oh, thank you, people.
So, yeah.
Prince of Egypt.
Prince of Egypt.
Good times.
It is a good time, and it is worth a watch, we've decided. Yeah, I'm glad we watched it.
I'm glad we watched it too.
I've never seen it before. I was like, this is cool. Like,
yeah, it was nice to revisit.
Yeah. Holds up. Definitely holds up after 20 years.
Not as well as I remember, but it does hold up.
It's still good.
Yeah.
Do you reckon... Oh, I know they made a recent stage adaptation of this story, actually.
Oh, did they, actually?
Yeah. I think it premiered last year, so it's now touring about.
Yeah, right.
If it comes to Sydney, Brendan, I know what you and I are doing.
Yeah.
We're
theatre date. Let's go, man. Yeah, buddy.
Let's see the Prince of Egypt.
Yeah, we'll join in on our favourite song. You're
playing with the big boys now.
See you guys.
Happy 30.